Welcome back to everyone. I'm Darcy Driver, and I am joined today by Sandy Shortbread Jr. and Mr. Combat Teddy. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
I'm in a dungeon, so I'm a little grumpy right now, but I'll be okay. My fun fact is the only thing in my backpack is a torch and one match.
My fun fact, I am currently, quite literally in the dungeon. I am downstairs where I usually DM my sessions while recording this. I'm just walking in circles, burning some calories.
Nice.
My fun fact is the first magical weapon I ever got was a +1 dagger, which took us about 2 hours for me to actually get from when we started the game. I took it out of a chest and was holding it in my hands and had a magic user tell me what it was, and he said, "That's +1 dagger." And I said, "Excellent." And I stood up and apparently pulled a cord that was attached to the dagger long enough, and a stone fell out of the ceiling and killed my character.
Oh boy.
I almost quit D&D right then.
You and I share that apparently, because my first magic item in the campaign, the first D&D campaign that I played, was a +1 dagger.
Yep.
Always remember your first.
Which was really because that character had 10 normal daggers that they had like bandolier style ready to go because I hated running to retrieve them. And so then that +1 was my opener.
This isn't a fun fact, but this is more just like a recommendation. If you guys like podcasts and you like RPGs, but you like people that do like Star Wars stuff, go check out Bad Form RPG. They're doing a Star Wars series right now, releasing a new episode every day for the 12 days of Christmas, called Frontier, and it's really good. I think you guys would like it, but
what was it?
Check that out. Bad Form RPG, their new series Frontier.
Okay.
They've got a few different ones on there from like the Rebellion era or other different periods of Star Wars history, not Star Trek, but it's just all very well done.
Gotcha. So we are here, fine listeners, to build a dungeon together today. And we're going to we'll get a base idea of a fun thing that we want to do and then pass it around. I think we may want to go like room to room. People take turns doing things in the rooms in the hallway, designing this thing. And this will be something that I'm planning to run, just incidentally. I'm totally wholesale going to steal this dungeon once we're done and run it at some point.
Right.
All right.
Be excited to somehow. I hope I play this, and I hope I die by a trap I create.
Okay, so entrance. What biome are we going for this entrance, gentlemen?
I feel like some hieroglyphics would be nice.
Hieroglyphics? Are we going like a desert and it's a sand temple with hieroglyphics, or are you talking like you want runes in the door?
Are we talking? Yeah, I mean, where are we building this place? Desert, swamp, mountains.
Let's go swamp.
Yeah, swamp. I was thinking swamp too, like all the fog and just lizard folk people running around.
Okay, all right. And I'm kind of thinking a slightly raised platform slightly above the swamp with an arch, some steps leading up to an arch that has hieroglyphics on it.
Yes, and I like this idea.
And then it goes down from there. There's steps or like a door on top of the platform that you have to open, and then steps leading down.
Okay. So for the runes, I'm thinking we should put them in Draconic and have it be a warning about what lies within the dungeon.
Which has nothing to do with dragons.
Yeah. It's a
Yes.
misnomer.
False flag. False flag. What kind of warning are we going to give these players as a false flag?
Something about you should always be looking up.
And then we have no skybound traps the whole game.
Yeah.
No dropping stones. No.
Only
No
foot
spikes.
caltrops.
Okay, that settles it. The draconic rune says be always looking up.
Okay, so or keep your head up.
Keep your gaze high,
We
something
should
like
be
that.
a little bit cryptic. We should be just a little bit cryptic instead of always look up. I like always keep your head up.
Well, I'm thinking this didn't start out as a dungeon. Started out as something happier. So it's like a motivational thing on the arch,
Yes.
but you don't necessarily know that when you're going in there. So we can kind of see what we can kind of up that could be really, really misleading.
This used to be a therapy place for Dragonborn.
There you go. There you go. A spa.
Dragonborn Day Spa, and it's like their motivational cat poster on the entrance. Always keep your head up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. What was that thing? In Tolkien, speak, friend, and enter.
Mm-hmm.
Something along that line. There we go. So we got a pretty good idea. We can work on that a little bit, but that's a good start. So, and we doing anything trappy on the door, or do we can even have a door, or just steps going down?
I think just an open archway with steps going down, and
Okay.
I want some like muck, some sticky muck from the swamp going down into the depth.
Okay, no, that works. We're in a swamp. Muck is a necessity. All right.
And if somebody rolls like an 18 investigation check on the archway, they find a key hidden in the arch, but it'll open nothing in the dungeon.
It's their hide a key. It's just some random villager's hide a key.
It used to open something, but that's long gone.
Yeah, that part's caved in.
Once upon a
Okay.
time. All right.
Note to selves later, once we get to like that final room, we need to have like a dust outline of a chest. We can have the actual loot, but we need like a dust outline of a larger chest.
All right.
Something that was already taken.
Or a door in a wall that the key fits into, but the whole wall is like destroyed except for just around the door.
Yes,
Yeah, you open it up and it's just caved in.
It drops into a pit or something like that. Okay. So we got the beginning and the end. So how far down are we going?
Let's make it a 60-foot descent, and
Okay, we're going down.
we're going pretty far down.
No
It's at a
torches.
45, but because these are covered with muck and then slippery stuff, I'm thinking DC 12 dex check, or they need to have tied themselves off to not slip.
Okay, all right, that works. And I'm thinking this is going to be kind of a wet, slimy dungeon because it's under the swamp and there's probably leakage.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Very dank.
Very dank. There's a good word. Dank. Yep. Very dank. All right. So 60-foot drop, D12 dexterity check. How often are they going to have to do that?
Let's make it every 30, so only twice.
Okay. All right. We'll be kind to them. So when they first start, and then the middle, and then they'll be at the bottom. Okay.
I think it needs to open into like an oval room.
Okay.
We can have different corridors popping off from. This will have to be like where they had the back when it was the Dragonborn like spa, like the check-in with like the receptionist counter. But what would that be? Like I'm asking you guys, what would that be now that it's been turned into a dungeon? And we got to think about who made this dungeon. We're making it, but who in the game is the players going to have to face off against that made this dungeon?
Who's moved in and taken over?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to think on that a little bit because I'm not quite sure because I'm thinking kind of, I don't know. First thing came to mind was evil necromancer, but depending on what level of group we're talking about, that could be.
I'm cool. Making this a 5 levels, like 5 to 7 dungeon.
Okay, all right.
Necromancer's not out of the question. I'm totally down.
We'll put a pin in that for now.
We'll put a pin in that.
So my guess is most of the fixtures in there were all made out of wood, so they're long gone. So you basically got barren floor, barren walls.
And not barren. Like, let's make them moss covered, and again describe that muck.
Right, and the smell. Oh, there's got to be a smell.
One is glowing blue and viscous in the corner.
One of the smells is okay.
One of the piles of moss is.
All right.
And if players cast detect magic, we got anything for them in this room?
I would say the moss would seem very magical. One glowing moss, but
one glowing moss. I don't know, because we could put like a emblem on one of the walls. It would have been like the symbol for the spa back in the day.
You know what I think? Because we're going with like the Dragonborn theme and having this be owned by them, we put like a dragon's hand. And so it looks a bit menacing, but it's just because they used to do mani-pedis.
All right. No, I like it.
So the door to the right has a like dragon claw shaped hand above it.
Okay. All right. And we could have I'm kind of picturing 2 corridors right and left, and then 2 more kind of at, like, I want to say 45-degree angles. Kind of on the far wall. So there's four corridors leading off. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. So we can put a symbol, or even we could just have symbols on 2 of the other ones, and then one of them has been like broken off, so we don't know what that is. It's been...
It makes it good for players to be able to distinguish which, like, where they are, since like when you were saying in our previous episode about like how people would draw out maps, since most people don't draw out maps of dungeons anymore. That's a good way for players to mentally remember where they are.
Right. We went down the Dragon Claw corridor when they're talking about it later. So, and how big are we making this? Is this going to be a single floor dungeon? Is it going to be a...
because it's already descended 60, I think we're fine with a single. If need or want arises later for it to be more, so be it. But so far we've got our room with that central walkway coming down, and then the 4 spokes with each path going off to the side. Dragon Claw for the right one. What are we thinking for the left and middles, right and left?
Okay, so one's like a mani-pedi, one's a steam room.
Yeah, and it's a dragon's like nostrils or fire breathing.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I want to say there would probably be like a weight room. I'm just throwing stuff out here now.
Yeah.
I like it. It'll be a stone with a rock tied to it for that symbol. Everyone like it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And then the other one has been destroyed, either defaced or maybe it was made out of something that was precious and somebody stole it.
Don't they have like... I mean, I've never been to a spa, so I don't know. But don't they have some kind of like cafeteria or somewhere where people can generally eat something, even if it's like light salad or something like that?
That's what we'll put down that corridor.
All right. There you go.
I'll just label it food in my mind.
Who's the food? The party's the food for the monster acting down that corridor.
So what are we doing with that glowing moss over in the corner that was mentioned earlier?
Glowing moss over in the corner, if a player picks it up, like, I mean, they could do Arcana on it to find out it's magical. Even if they roll high, it's just random moss, so they wouldn't know anything particular about it. But if they tried... Oh, go ahead.
Is a random magical moss?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just glowing in the corner. If they ingested it, the person would then have the effects of any time they tried to cast a spell, they would have the effects of the wild magic table until they took a long rest.
So if they cast Identify, that's what it'll tell them. Until then, it's a bioluminescent moss.
Correct.
Only if they cast Identify, they wouldn't get that from just an Arcana check. But
all right, good. So the Mani-Pedi
Dragonclaw room.
Dragonclaw rooms.
or is it a corridor?
4-door leading to rooms. And how many rooms should we have in this particular part of the spa?
I think we should have like stations set up.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking too. So if we have several rooms kind of alternating on either side going down,
Yeah.
then they could have like stone seats in them with maybe little raised things in the front for people to put their feet on. And then they might even have like handprints on the arms of the stone seats, or where they would put their hands when they're getting their manicures.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a little too much detail?
No, I think that's good.
I like it.
How do we twist that to something undead? Because we had said potentially a necromancer. So is this like just now has this been turned into not a breeding ground, but like a storage area for some of his undead, or where he's like
The other thought I
experimenting
had
on
on
them?
this, the other thought I had on this, because we're already in a swamp, is a vine blight. Because that would like more blend in with that mossy overgrowth of stuff from going down but below this swamp, if we wanted to do like a plant monster at the end. Just some food for thought.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what it is and haven't Googled it yet, a vine blight is basically the vine version of Groot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's that? Who's that guy? I can't remember if it's Marvel or DC. Swamp Thing.
Yes.
So it would be kind of like a Swamp Thing.
Kind of.
Okay. Well, I was kind of thinking about something along that line for the big bad, but if we've already got them and they're just kind of being stored in there or living there.
I think we should go with they're sitting in the chairs.
Okay.
And so they just blend in with the now overgrown chairs.
Okay. So if there's 2 chairs in each room, approximately how many rooms?
Let's go with 4.
Okay, so we got about 8 of these guys.
Yep.
But
Okay.
if you have a druid in your party, you can hear in Druidic that they're having some kind of like this is their House of Representatives, and they're having some kind of discussion.
They could actually hear talking.
Only if it's
Okay.
a druid. But
Well, is this an innate thing for druids?
No.
Okay.
So just so you are aware, vine blights have the false appearance, which means while they're inactive, they are completely indistinguishable from just tangled vines. So it just looks like tangled vines captured.
There's going to be other vines on the wall, and so they'll look just part of the scenery. Okay, so, and what are we going to give them for being able to go in here and defeat whoever's in here?
Do we want to start this one off with just like a straight encounter?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I feel like there has to be a reason for the players to investigate deeper into the rooms, though. If we had, I mean, not something as obvious as like, a jewel that's sitting on a pedestal, but something that catches their attention to draw them in deeper.
We got rooms to our left and right with chairs with vine blights in them.
What Vine Blights, what do they have treasure-wise? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't think they have
Nothing.
anything. Yeah.
Nothing's mentioned thematically. I mean, I could see them having a cool staff or
A
being
quarter
on or
staff.
around a cool staff because they blend in with it.
All right.
Ooh, is there... Oh. So... Is there like a wand of like mani-pedis that could be like a staff of mani-pedis that could be just hanging out around there?
The only thing that survived, a wand of mani-pedis. I like it.
Okay, well, now at this point we have to decide: are we going joke dungeon or serious dungeon?
They're not going to have any idea what this is, just that it's a wand.
Yeah.
Right? Because even what would they have to cast on that to know what it was?
Identify.
Okay, and what level do they get that at?
You can get it as like 3rd level, and if we're running this for like 5s and 7s, they would have it.
Well, they might if they decided to take it.
Yeah.
So okay.
Or no, identify as 1st level. So.
Oh, okay. Never mind. All right. Well, let's leave that. I think there should be something that would make them, because if I'm the dungeon master and they're going down there and say, okay, look in this room, what do I see? Well, you see what appears to be 2 pedestals with some stone chairs, on it, vines everywhere in the room. How am I enticing them, or what triggers action from the blights?
So if we are setting this up as an abandoned day spa, we could have that there's a counter where they left tips, and thereby there's a jar that's made of that's like a polished jar that they can assume has gold in it, which we'll put gold in.
Okay.
Tip jar.
Or whatever Dragonborn used for money at the time.
Well, there would be one of these in every room, and there's going to be like odd amounts of gold possibly, or coin in there. And okay, so once they find that out, and what triggers the blights? Just them going in the room, or?
I think it's when the players step on the vines. Honestly, because the vines are going to be everywhere, and even if the vines aren't technically like part of the shape that'll attack the players, nature's all connected, baby.
Okay, no, nature's all connected. Let's put the tip jars in between the 2 seats, kind of where they would have to actually step up.
Yes.
To get at it, so that way that will kind of trigger it,
and overgrown with vines.
Overgrown with vines. So there appears to be some sort of vase there. Okay, I can work with that. Okay, so next corridor over. Do we have anything else we want to do with this one?
Good for that one to just be a simple one. The other ones we can do multi-room and go in deeper, but that one's fine to just be a standalone.
All right, works.
So the next one's our steam room, which has the dragon's fire thing there.
Okay,
right. Breathing fire. I want some traps.
So here was one of my thoughts for this one was that there's either 2 ways we could go with this. We could go that they had like heated mud baths, because aka swamp and also dragonborn want their scales all like polished up from the dirt or mud or whatever, but just basically turn those into like quicksand pits because things have dried up or whatever, and just kind of creating some tension, and you're not knowing exactly, because the whole room just looks like sand, you're not sure where you're going to sink next. And
I had a thought before we get there, because we're going with the whole you're getting clean thing. Because they're dragonborn, they would be immune to fire. And so to clean themselves off initially, let's put some pressure plates with fire spouts.
It.
Okay.
Saying,
and not all of them are working.
Yep.
Okay.
We saying 3d6, 46 damage for the...
I was thinking 3, so you're right in line with where I am, bro.
All right.
If we want to be a little more evil, it'd be 4.
If you have a more tanky party, go for it. And then what's the check for trap DC? Because again, we're facing overgrowth and muck.
Well, initially, I think unless they're actually saying they're looking, they don't get a chance. It's just going to get set off because
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yep.
want to say it's going to look like part of the floor.
Yeah, the
And
pressure
depending on-
plates have no distinguishable thing about them.
Correct. Or they're covered in muck.
Yep.
So you can't see them. So it's kind of like a toss up on whether you want to kind of make it realistic because when they're coming in this room, they're going to step on these plates. The fire's going to go off. It's going to clean them. And then they move on to either like a steam room or a bath or something along that line, right?
Yep. So I'm thinking 3 segments of those 3d6 fire damage spouts
Okay.
based with pressure plates.
Perfect.
All right. And most of them will catch on after the first 2, right?
Hopefully. Unless little Tommy, the orc barbarian, has an intelligence of 6.
Yeah. We're going to miss little Tommy.
Okay, so corridors done. Are we going to split more rooms because we got a lot of space we can work with?
Well, what's the big bad going to do? What's he doing with this room? What's he using it for? Is this storage? Is it troop compartments? Is it treasure room?
I don't think we want like any of these immediate adjacent ones to be treasure room. Let's put those like second level in so that they have to go through at least one more door before getting a actual
All right.
treasure.
Nope, that's fine. And it could be even he came in and added on to the existing spaces, and so
Ooh.
there may be doors they can't see because he's very good at this.
I like the illusory door angle for this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we got some traps. How many rooms?
2 more.
I think I personally want 2 doors. Well, hallway continues straight and then doors to the left, and illusory door to the right that they need like either detect magic is up and you see the illusion door, or let's say DC 17.
Okay,
Perception.
so it does not appear to be a door unless they do detect magic.
Yep. Or
Okay.
DC 17 looking
All right.
around.
Okay, but they have to actually be looking.
Yep.
So not a passive 17. Okay. All right. And the illusionary door would take them into more rooms, more of the lair.
I think we should throw a treasure in here. Give them something.
Okay. No, I got no problem with that. We're going to try to burn them to death, so let's give them a little something for it.
I'm just going to pull up my handy dandy RPG loot generator.
Okay.
What do we want to do with the room opposing while I'm pulling this up?
So I think with the one opposing, we'd probably do mud bath thing or the quicksand.
Yeah. Wand of enemy detection. Do we want to do that?
Well, to get it, they'd have to find an illusory door, right? So.
Well, all they have to do, all that does is just detect that there's enemies somewhere, not necessarily where they are, right?
Yeah, I don't want to do that one.
All right.
Ooh, Amulet of Health. Constitution score is now 19 while wearing this amulet.
All right.
Particularly if we have a squishy caster who's in the dungeon, we want them to be able to get something good.
Give them a few extra chances to live. All right.
It's actually just like a VIP pass for the spa. It's like a chain with a just dragon head.
Yes, it's a chain with a dragon head on it. I like it.
It's got draconic on it, but if somebody can like transcribe it like before, it's like my name is Dave or something really silly. Or not Dave, but something that sounds more draconian, but yeah. All right.
So dragon head amulet.
And then that'll kind of
feed back to the original thing above the door of the dragon head breathing fire, and he'll start thinking of false conclusions in their head.
So what are we doing with this mud bath?
I don't know. Were we doing quicksand?
Yeah, I was thinking quicksand.
Okay.
And like say that maybe there's like kind of like we talked about earlier, maybe like a door at the end of wherever they're trying to get to that ends up just being like a storage closet full of nothing that would be very important, but still something that would cause them to want to try to cross the sand pit to get to.
How about on the far side, there's like some cubbies. They'd be like lockers, maybe about 4 feet high, 1.5 wide in each one, and they're all along the wall. And there's one on the far side that has one post that's still intact and it has an amulet hanging on it.
Okay.
Or is that too
Amulet heavy?
well, too easy for them to see? And
I mean, we could definitely have one of the cubby doors like hanging open and they could see something glinting inside. Not necessarily know what in particular, but
okay.
They might, if they've been to the other room with the blights, they might get the hint of, oh, I'm just being let out on a carrot on a stick for some kind of danger. But I mean, that's just D&D.
And the floor would look like it had been covered in like sand or moss or detritus. And
why don't we encourage smart play and just have it show up as quicksand?
Okay.
But it's like floor, wall to wall quicksand, and then on the other side you got the lockers.
Okay. Or we could put like a little ledge around the edge on either side, like 1.5 inches, something like that. And if they make a certain dex roll every couple of however far across it is, they could actually cross that way if they wanted.
Yeah.
Or they could try to brave the quicksand, but the edge would not be readily visible.
Probably have
just a thought.
Probably have to be a pretty high dex check, so some risk and reward.
Yeah. So, but if they were smart, they could tie a rope around somebody and have them try it, and if they fell in, they could pull them out. Covered in quicksand.
16 dex check.
Sound fair?
Yeah, 16 or 17, but maybe in the locker with whatever treasure, whether it's just gold or whatever it's in there, they find like a scrap of paper that starts to disintegrate in their hands that like also reads in Draconic, that's like talking about like this dark ritual or whatever, but it's actually just like flyer from back in the day about like a special promotion they were doing. So again, just another red flag.
These poor guys aren't going to know what hit them.
Yeah.
All right, so we have one room that has the amulet in it, and the other room has nothing in it.
No, the room with the quicksand has a pamphlet and some gold in a locker across the way that they can see, but they have to navigate across the narrow ledge to get.
Okay, all right. And the
straight way, we've got nothing yet.
The amulet is in the false door room?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Very good.
Right, so we had the broken one, which was the food one, and then we had one other one.
Well, no, we got the rest of this hallway left.
Right.
We have 2 of these mud rooms, right?
Right. We haven't done anything with the one at the end of this hallway.
Or the steam room, technically. Yep.
Yes. What are we doing with this steam room?
Well, it's not a steam room anymore. So would it just become like a big puddle because it's just pumping, like the water is just leaking in?
No, I like the idea of keeping it hot because that perpetual fire, if we're going to have fire trap earlier, we want the fires to still be going somewhere else, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And so I like this being foggy and have like some corpses here just hiding in the very thick fog. Thoughts?
I like corpses. I also like the idea of, like, say, maybe like a more of like an elemental fight here, or like a wind elemental, air elemental, whatever you call them, or a like something that's more of like a spirit. Maybe not a banshee. Maybe we don't want to throw a banshee at whatever party's coming in here, but something that would like really blend into the fog well and be aesthetically pleasing.
I mean, an air elemental's looking really like a really good candidate, in my opinion. Teddy, what you think?
I'm thinking that's a pretty good idea.
Okay, we're going air elemental.
Yeah.
Cool. Like full grown one. They got 90 hit points.
Wow.
Their AC's
Okay.
only 15 though. They got 2 attacks. And they got a wind.
I mean, if they're level 7, definitely.
Yeah, we're going
That's not even.
Throw an air elemental in there.
Potentially, how many players?
3 to 5.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be challenging without, I think, being overkill.
Then that thick fog is going to open up more reason why they can't just like breach and shoot in, because they won't be able to see the air elemental with the fog.
Yeah. What will cause them to enter? Because if I'm a player character, I don't want to enter a room with fog. Is there like some kind of trigger that when the door opens, like a voice speaks or some kind of music plays or something like that? That's like lingering magic.
Let's just leave. In my opinion, let's just leave the room with the air elemental.
Okay.
All right.
I'm content with that. I'm content.
So I'm thinking that the pipes, there used to be pipes that fed steam into the room, and that came from kind of deep down and was fed in there, but those are all broken, so there's constantly steam going up in there, and it's going up through cracks in the ceiling. So it's basically a wall of steam that the air elemental likes very much, because it's a very nice warm home and possibly doesn't like being disturbed. So it may try to put them off, any characters coming in there, get them turned around, whatnot. So sometimes they may walk in and they'll get blown around and they'll end up walking right back out again.
Like make a dex check, or their gust of wind will blow you right back out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, air elementals as written have a Roland that they can cast.
Okay.
And it's a DC 13, and you get flung up to 20 feet in a random direction and knocked prone.
Okay.
And 3d8 plus 2 bludgeoning damage when you fail.
All right. And I'm sure the air elemental can control that if they want to some extent, and maybe not give them a whole lot of damage, just getting them out of the room. Unless, of course, they keep going in and it becomes annoyed, in which case. And it may be that they'll just be very curious about why is something trying to keep us out of here, and that'll be enough to keep them trying to go in. So
yeah,
we could have a pretty good fight on their hands.
Yep.
Okay.
Indeed. So I think that settles up that section.
Yep.
So we've got the food one next. No, not the
or
food
that
one, the other one.
Room. The weight room's the one next, going counterclockwise.
Right. You're the one who pitched this one, Teddy. Give us your picture.
I did, didn't I? All right. I'm just trying to picture a dragonborn gym.
I pick things up and put them down.
Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking, that there's probably actual stones, but they're cut more like kettlebells, or what are those weights?
Yeah, kettlebells.
Kettlebells. Okay. Yeah. and there's like different sizes of them. And right at this point, they're pretty much all scattered around. But at one point, there was probably alcoves in the walls where they were all placed, by size and weight. And that this is probably kind of one of the more favorite parts of this place, especially for the guy Dragonborn, just so they could become more buff and impress the ladies. So they probably have, I want to say four or five rooms, so 2 on each side and then 1 on the end. And they're pretty much all standard the same way. So they're all going to have these kettlebells. And I don't know if there's anything else that we could, come up with that would be kind of long exercise things for them. But basically just them able to lift stuff and do their exercises that way. But I'm not quite sure what we'd want to do for creatures or whatnot.
So I'm going to enlighten you guys on one of my favorite combo things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Use the trap spell to store a spell that then does a thing.
Okay.
Well, it's glyph of warding, but you glyph of warding a spell, and I think we should glyph of warding levitate.
Okay.
So the levitate, does that cause all the rocks to lift? Or the weights to lift up?
Yes. It's modifying the spell as written because it's a target is levitated, but I like just doing an AoE levitate and it can lift up to 500 pounds.
Okay.
Nice.
And that's a constitution save, and then once you're up for 10 minutes if you failed.
Okay, so is this with the intent of lifting the characters?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I guess if they do save, I guess then it would be the weights that would lift, but
Well, this would affect whatever player characters were in the area of effect, right?
Yep, and it's 60-foot area.
Oh my goodness. All right. That would pretty much cover everywhere in that area that I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. And these rooms, I want to say, just off the top of my head, are 30 by 30 each. And have, let's say, 1d20 worth of rock kettlebells in each one. So it'll be kind of a random number.
do we want to have almost like little rock elementals as like the stats of like goblins to fight in there, or
Well, what other somebody had mentioned lizard men.
oh, lizard folk?
Lizard folk, yeah. Do we want to kind of keep with the swamp theme, or I mean, we could put.
Oh, we're kind of now leaning pretty elemental because we got an air elemental, we got some vine blights.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like someone just tore into the elemental planes.
Oops.
So there's some kind of fissure at the bottom of this dungeon that's could be sealed up, could be made worse depending on the player's actions.
I like it.
I like thematically throwing some rock elementals.
All right. So, and all the kettlebells have the weights on them in draconic.
Yes.
All right. So rock elementals.
Yep.
Little baby, like we just used goblin stats for it or whatever we'd want to come up with, but little baby rock elementals.
Some of them disguised as kettlebells.
A few of them, yeah.
Okay. All right. That works for me.
How many?
You said 1d20 worth.
1d20? No,
I said
that's
1d20
kettlebells.
of kettlebells in each room.
Oh, yeah.
So there's 1 to 20 kettlebells in each room. Because I figure at this point some of them will be moved or destroyed or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know that much about rock elementals, so I can't kind of parse it out as compared to a level 5 to 7 party.
So a small earth elemental has 11 hit points. They're pretty slow. They got a -1 for their initiative. They do 1d6 plus 4 damage.
All right.
That seems pretty
So
weak.
I would say generally 3 to 4 of those per character in my mind.
Make it
Mhm.
deadly.
And are they're able to shapeshift to some extent?
They look like rocks when they're not moving.
Okay.
It's basically the same as the vine blights.
All right. So I would say that depending how fast can they do that? Is that an instantaneous thing or that's innate?
It doesn't specify in this page. Let me check the other one.
Okay.
It depend on the DM too.
It doesn't say specifically that they can. So
Because I'm thinking they'd be really sneaky because they would like attack you and then run into a room where you couldn't see them and just kind of blend in.
blend in with those big weights. I like it. I don't care that's not written. We're doing it.
All right.
Let's go
And
8. 8 earth elementals. Sound good?
Okay.
80 hit points total, but they're pretty small.
Adjusted as needed.
Yeah.
To level and size of party. Okay. So, and are we giving them anything in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sandy, your turn for an idea of what fun thing to give. Or no, Teddy, I think you're up.
Oh, am I? All right. Have we come up with a reason for them to be here yet?
No.
Have they just heard about this place and people say it's spooky, or has there been something like the village elders or the town elders said, look, there's something going on. There's been great portents of the end of the world. If something isn't done about this place, so they have to go down there.
Yeah, let's do that, and let's throw in some like earthquakes to foreshadow the elemental plane tear.
Do we want
keep your head up?
Do we want that like a little kid wandered in here, and so we have like a ticking clock to find the kid before we think like the kid is Bonzo?
That's always kind of nice. So I'm thinking that they are going to potentially, anyway, in each room, they're going to find a potion. And it doesn't have to be like I'm thinking healing or a stamina potion, so it would temporarily increase their stamina and therefore their hit points.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is all about lifting weight, and you wanted to keep your strength up, your constitution up, so that this is kind of what we're looking at. Or it could just be like a straight, low level healing potion. So
what's funny? I going back to the Dragon's Breath room for a second. What if we throw a potion of Dragon's Breath in that locker? Where instead of that pamphlet for the dark ritual, we got a potion of Dragon's Breath.
I like that.
I would not be against that. No.
Cool.
Is that like ancient dragon's breath, or like just a dragonborn's breath, or?
Let's not carry away.
Dragon's Breath, the spell, is a bonus action, and it deals 3d6 of the chosen element type. So let's make it fire damage.
Okay, so that's applicable to a dragonborn. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do 1 to 5. So each room potentially has one potion in it.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have 1 to 5 minor healing potions, which is what? Is that 1d4 plus 1?
2d4 plus 2.
Okay, so we could do that. That way they at least have a chance to recover some of their hit points. If things go terribly bad with the elemental and or the blights.
Mm-hmm. How about we just put 1 potion in the tip jar and then 3 in the air elemental room?
Okay. And let's
adjust as needed.
Adjust as needed. And when they get in the air elemental room, if they get, say, like 5-10 feet in, they can actually see those.
Yes.
So that will help them have incentive to go in.
Potion rack that if they get a little too rowdy could get knocked over and everything smashed.
Ooh. All right. Yep. And they won't know what they are, just that they're potions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right. And now the eatery.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. All right.
I think the eatery has to be like the biggest room yet. And kind of like thinking about like a Chinese buffet, all these like little carts that are either like knocked over or smashed or different things. Like they don't have to be carts. They could just be like heads of stone that are like raised that stuff used to be sat on and food used to be sat on. But just like then like a nice big open space where there would have been tables and chairs. But again, all that wood is rotted and decayed and just probably eminence of it is left now. And
all right, or stone tables and benches.
Stone tables and benches. And in this room, if we're following along with the elemental theme, I would just say maybe somewhere which would be like maybe a place where there had been a fountain in there or something. There's just this massive water elemental. It's trying to do something with water in the room. I can't think of what yet, but
okay. Well, I'm kind of in my mind's eye. I'm kind of picturing water entering from one side of the room and kind of flowing to the other side and emptying, but you can't necessarily see. You might be able to see where it's coming from, but you don't see where it's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe, max 6 feet. Not 6 feet, 6 inches deep.
Yep.
So they're actually having to slosh around as they move through here.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of give it a little more atmosphere.
Indeed. The tone and the setting has been set well. Thank you, Darcy.
So
I've been getting text messages this whole time. He's been drawing the map of the dungeon and updating it every so often as we're completing a section.
So we're throwing the water elemental in here again, having some potions, but here we're going to have like an unnatural, or no, naturally occurring because of the earthquake tunnel going down to that that elemental room where the elemental planes have been torn. Yes.
Right.
So down there, do we want to have like first interaction with someone that's not an elemental, because maybe this is some kind of cult ritual that's trying to shear the planes, or maybe it's actually like, say, like a druid circle that's trying to bring the elemental planes like to the material plane?
I like that. Evil druids.
Evil druids.
Then it's just not one big bad, like, because every room pretty much, besides like divine blights or like a couple rock elementals, we've been having them fight just like 1 or 2 targets, and then it would be a lot more to deal with all at once, and maybe make them have to rethink their strategies.
Yeah.
Or you.
I like the druid angle, but I was kind of thinking that maybe something like the vine blights. There was like a big boss leader, and they had all moved down here and kind of taken over, and they were kind of, building their little lair.
Mm-hmm.
And then this completely natural, we'll say, or supernatural rift happened, broke open into the elemental planes, and he's in there trying to set up a ritual to stop it, and he's trying to summon a water elemental because in some way he'll be able to use that to seal the rift. Not to say the druids couldn't do the same thing, and they were definitely be good bad guys. So they could have had a ritual that had gone terribly wrong, or like you said, they could be trying to further open up the rift.
Yeah.
Or they could have had a ritual go wrong and they're trying to fix it, and they're just like as scared crazy as everybody else is once they know what's going on. And they're trying to
let's just buff. Let's make a super vine blight. So let's take a normal vine blight, 26 hit points. Let's
126.
Yeah, 126. Super vine blight daddy.
all right.
Let's also make him gargantuan or large. Let's make him large.
So in reference, that's the same size as a hill giant?
Yes.
Oh, how tall is he?
Let's make him 20. Sound good?
20
right.
feet tall?
I think that's into the size class of gargantuan, but I'll just put 20 foot in parentheses.
All right, because I'm thinking the roof on this place is about 30 feet high, so that would
Cool.
work. All right.
Here's what I'm going to ask. We're going to have our boss fight. It's going to be cool. Earthquakes are going to be happening. Do we want there to be like a time limit where if they don't defeat it in like a certain number of rounds, the tear rips open even wider, and like the whole room comes down in on them anyways? Or
Before you proceed, I'm giving them the constrict attack, multi-attack, because that grapples a creature, and it's a DC 12 strength check to escape. So yeah, let's buff that up to DC 15. And then it's still a constrict, and they got 3 of those. But yeah, I think if we should have like describe as this thing moves around, it's like tearing off parts of the wall as it moves, because its vines are connected to the walls and ceilings, so it's imminent collapse.
Yeah. And so is the anomaly in the room with it then?
Yeah, sure.
What?
Well, okay. Here's where I think we have some room for like improvisation and fun stuff, forcing players to do interesting things. So I will propose my idea and see what you guys think. Its vines are connected to all of the walls and ceilings, and as this thing takes its turn, you describe parts of the walls being pulled by the vines just by it moving and attacking, and give the players the option to attack those vines instead of attacking the creature to prolong the timer that they have to attack and kill this thing. Otherwise, after 2 turns, stuff from the ceiling starts falling, and stuff is you make like half the terrain rough terrain, and they'll start having to dodge pieces of the ceiling. Thoughts?
I think that's good.
Yeah, they're moving at half speed because they're having to go through this water anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would certainly make it more exciting.
What do the players see? Like, what does the portal look like visually? Do you just see like, is it just a big purple portal where you can't see anything through? Is like a gateway, like a window where you could see into whatever plane it's open to at that point in time? Are we going to have it that stuff is going to come out of it during the fight?
The stuff coming out of it, DM discretion. If the initial like hit points / creatures are not correctly balanced, but I like the idea of potentially having it open to like a verdant rainforest or something, so that the water is just actively flowing into this rainforest.
Okay.
Thoughts? Other contract? Well, I mean, conversely, we could have it going into the elemental plane of fire, and he's just trying to save the vine blade by having that water go somewhere to try and douse it around the portal at least.
Well, this is my thinking, and actually, the visual you gave me of it going into the rainforest, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Is that he's trying to raise a water elemental and have it go down into like some sort of volcanic area and interact with it to cause an explosion to seal the rift.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be good for everybody in the long run if he did that, but player characters aren't going to necessarily know what he's doing or why. They're just going to see this big bad guy, and the water elemental may not necessarily want to cooperate. So there's a chance it could be brought into into existence, and then decide, nope, I'm not doing that, and then attack pretty much everybody. So it would be like a 3-way fight instead of just a 2-way fight. But that might be a little bit too much.
Well, I mean, you can give verbal clues about the elemental plane of fire spilling over into where they are presently, and like play into that second round the walls are falling, and also now some lava is flowing in.
Yep. All right.
I like it.
Okay.
Improvise / balance accordingly.
I think if the players like quote unquote win, the portal isn't sealed. I think that's the ending.
If they win, it's not sealed?
Yeah, like if the players stop the super mega vine blight from doing his plan, then portal isn't sealed, and bad stuff happens. If they end up like having to retreat or I guess lose, depending on if that water elemental survives and cooperates, then quote unquote day is saved.
Okay.
Because like even at level 7, I don't think a tear in reality is something that like a party should be able to just push a button or pull a lever or kill something and then it seals up.
Smart play will be rewarded. Yeah. The end.
Yeah, put that in there.
Okay, guys. It's been real. It's been fun.
All right. I like the map. It's just like I envisioned it.
We'll have to...
and I will send you the update.
We'll have to post the map that Darcy drew up on our Instagram page at Serious Sandy Shortbread Jr. Follow us on there. Nice. We post some stuff, hang out, talk about gaming news.
Now I have one question.
Okay.
Last thing. How are we kind of directing them, or do we even care if they go to the left first and get right into the boss fight first thing?
I say it doesn't matter. Because the other elementals and stuff will be there, and the potions as rewards are still going to be there.
Yeah, they just walk into the boss fight probably in the best condition that they would be, so that might be the best best case scenario for them.
And percentage-wise, players tend to turn right if given the opportunity. So, I think that will work. All right, it looks good, guys.
All right, perfect. Catch us on the next Making a Dungeon episode. It's part of this BREADBOX channel.
Good night, everyone. Good morning. Catch you all later.
You beautiful biscuits.
Good night.